Hello? Hello? Who is it? It's me, bitch. It's Showdown, huh? Goddamn. Did you guys know that I barely have an upload schedule? Like, sometimes you'll go into the channel and the last video will have been uploaded like 3 years ago. What happened there, huh? Right? So today I want to talk about stuff that's been happening. Stuff's just been happening, you know. A lot of crazy stuff, you know. It's crazy to think that last video I did was on a NixOS setup, and now I'm not using NixOS anymore. What are my critiques of NixOS since the point where I started using it? I don't think it's the best thing to use if you're a developer, because the file system's kind of icky. Some of your stuff might break. If you're doing low-level programming, stuff will really break. You're gonna have to do a lot of tweaking to like run random binaries. That's just how NixOS is, and it was not working for me. So you might be asking yourself, well, what the hell are you using right now? Well, my desktop is running Kubuntu, which for a lot of you might be complete blasphemy, right? Because, you know, oh no, Canonical is like spying on your fucking thing, you know, it's a temporary thing. I might just switch to Kali again, because I did use it a lot, as I mentioned in my last video. But it's just reliable like that. I don't really know what to say. Maybe not Kali, maybe just like a bare bones distro, like something like that. Something that where I can just pop all my shit like Steam and stuff, and everything will just work, you know. Why am I mentioning stuff just working? Well, kind of a stupid announcement, but I fell into the Apple ecosystem rabbit hole. If I didn't have you guys like raising pitchforks and torches for me dropping NixOS, now I'll have you all trying to dox me and find my house and like get my head so you can, like, I don't know, display it in the Louvre or something. But yeah, I did, and you know, it's been wonderful. It's been just stupid. I don't know how it works in the background, but it just does. And I gotta praise every single guy that fucking worked on these things. It just works. If I could see the source code behind all of this, it would probably be black magic, but I'd rather see it than not be able to see it in my lifetime. Maybe I'll try to infiltrate Apple, steal all of their source code, get to know how they made these things, because these things break the laws of engineering or something. Why am I mentioning this? Well, because I haven't gone into the deep end. I'm never going to use an Apple Watch. I'm not going to get AirPods because they're just not worth it. I'm not going to get like a Mac Mini because I don't really do like creative work. I might edit a video here and there, but I do that on my desktop and I do it on Caden Live. But you know, stuff's just been working. Last time I was recording this shit on a Nothing Phone 1, and it just wasn't working for me. And I was doing all this stupid shit like listening to music on my Nothing Phone, watching videos on my Nothing Phone, everything was so consolidated. Now I've been able to split some of that stuff. I switched my laptop for a MacBook Air M3. That's pretty much it. I'm not gonna just fucking give up on ThinkPad. It's on the side right now. And if any of you want it, if you guys want a T440S with a dual core processor and 8 gigs of RAM and 128 gigs of SSD and all that stupid shit. The screen is barely fucking functioning and it needs a new internal battery. But if you want it, drop into the comments. I'll sell to the first guy that drops a dick pic into my fucking DMs. But it just works. And then I figured out that, oh wait, there's all kinds of automagical integrations if you get an iPhone. So I did. That's what's recording this video right now. It's an iPhone 13 mini. It's not one of those fucking Pro Max shits. The Nothing Phone 1 is the same size as an iPhone 13 Pro Max, right? I've been using the 13 mini for quite a while now. And I just gotta say, the comparison is just like night and day. Now, every time I pick up that thing, it's a fucking behemoth. I have no idea how I was using that every single day. It's so big. Every time you want to reach something that's too far out on the screen, you gotta use 2 fingers. With this, I can just use this one-handed. I don't need to use both fingers. It's just incredible. I don't know how I was living like that. Second thing, I'm listening to music, but I'm not listening to music like you are. I'm at the bare minimum, I'm not using Apple Music. I know all of you are using Spotify, and I am too. But I'm not using it in the same way that you are, because, you know, I'm listening to it on an iPod. This is an iPod 7th generation. It was a fucking steal, this thing, because it was a 160 gigabyte model, you know. It's very good. It's very reliable. It came with a stock battery, and the stock battery is just fucking infinito, right? This thing lasts for days sometimes. I don't know how that's happening. I'm assuming the battery's gonna die at some point, and then I'll buy a new one. But this thing just works, and that's what this video is about. The iPod. I'm not making this video about the MacBook and the iPhone. There's 50 million videos about that made by other people that have like 1 million times the number of subs I'll ever have in my lifetime. I'd rather be talking about this because this is far more interesting. You don't see people with MP3 players anymore. This is rare to see out in the streets. I just gotta say, I'm very proud of the little pipeline I made to get stuff into this piece of shit. This dinky ass fucking MP3 player, which makes every fucking song sound so good. It only takes wired earphones, but I've never been more proud of fucking wired earphones, because it just works. Music has never sounded better on a fucking thing, and I gotta fucking stop this fucking photo booth just to show it to you, because it just
Okay, so here I am on the macOS desktop. I've set up my iPhone so that it's trying to capture everything that's on my desk, so that you can watch how this whole process goes, you know? So, I actually haven't thought this through very well on how the process would go on a on my Mac, because I don't have a lot of USB-A ports, and this takes a 30-pin connector, and the only cable I have is a USB-A, so I'll have to make do in a bit. But how do I get songs on this? First off, let's go, for example, to Spotify. Let's find something that I like, and let's open up our iPod, for example, and let's go to our albums. And I got a bunch of stuff here. I got Parachutes by Coldplay. I got Sgt. Pepper's by the Beatles. Stadium Arcadium. Got a bunch of stuff here. Let me find something that I don't have here, and I might like. Actually, this is a vinyl my dad has at his home, but I'd actually like to listen to this. Double Fantasy by John Lennon and Yoko Ono. So maybe I'll get this for my iPod. Well, how do I do that? Well, first off, I'm going to use something I found out called Zifi. This is a Python script you can run on your thingamajig, Windows, Linux, Mac OS, whatever it is. You use your Spotify credentials, and you can download all the songs you want. I don't know if you need a Spotify Premium account. I do have one that I use with this, but I don't know if you do need it. So let's get it running. First off, I'll copy the album link, and I'll open up my terminal. I already got Zifi installed here, so I don't need to start doing a lot of stuff here. Zotify, and let's paste the album link. I'll just remove this Intel-PT. I've figured out that entering the region in your link might break the script sometimes, so it's a good thing to remove it. And we'll set the download format to MP3. And look at that, it's already downloading. It's gonna start downloading the album shortly. I'll just open up the Finder on the side so you can guys see what it's doing. Go to my music, Spotify music, John Lennon, Double Fantasy. Oh, it's already got one. Yeah, it had a little hiccup there, but let me go to my music, Spotify music. Let me just delete the John Lennon thing. And let's try to download this fucking thing again. Let me try with something else. This usually doesn't break like this. But yeah, no. Let's get the Berserk soundtrack. Again, Zotify. We'll get the link. I'll remove the region from the link. And I'll add that I want to download this as an MP3 file, as MP3s. It's going to prepare to download, and it's downloading the stuff. So now we're downloading all the songs in the album. But how do we get them on the iPod? How do we do this? Well, first off, I'm going to have to switch my microphone over to something a bit more conventional. I'm going to remove this fucking micro cable from my USB-C hub, and I'm going to plug in the 30-pin to USB connector right here. So I got a 30-pin cable, right? And what I'm going to do is right on macOS, I'm going to plug this iPod in, and it's going to think for a second, and it's going to go connected. So if I go over to my Finder, you'll see that Showdown's iPod just popped up, and it goes, oh, just great, right? iPod classics are still like recognized by modern Mac OS versions, so it's pretty cool. I almost gave up on downloading this song. I don't know what the hell happened there. Sometimes a bit of trouble getting certain songs. Here we go. It just sometimes hicks up a bit. I don't know why it has like this kind of problems, but we're getting everything. Earth is like the 8th track. There's only 2 more tracks in the soundtrack, but I'll cut to when it's done. And there we go. It's downloaded the entire soundtrack. But how are we going to pass it on to the iPod? Well, as you saw, I'm going to open this in a new tab and drag it out. And as you can see, it's right here, Showdown's iPod. Well, I'm going to go over here to my music tab. And without synchronizing with my library with the iPod, I'm just going to copy all this. I'm going to select all these songs. I'm going to drag them over. And they're just going to get copied into my iPod. And you can see that it's synchronizing right here. It does the little synchronizing symbol. It's that simple. So after that, I'm just going to let it finish synchronizing. I'm going to eject the iPod.
It says okay to disconnect. I'm going to wait for it to load everything. And now we're going to see if our little Berserk soundtrack was passed on successfully. And I'm going to go over to my music, albums. It should be at B, and there it is. Berserk original soundtrack. Some of the album art doesn't really migrate properly when you're using macOS for all the syncing, but here it is. Everything. Also, some of the metadata doesn't pass by too well. But looks cool. Looks very good.
Okay, and now I'm going to do basically the same thing for Linux. iPod. Basically, we do the exact same thing as we did before, but instead we need to open up something first. How are we going to put songs on the iPod through Linux or Windows? For Windows, you can basically, oh Jesus Christ, you can basically just use iTunes to sync up your music with iPod using all the same old. You can still use Zotify on Windows. Zotify. But instead of iTunes, because there is no native iTunes client on Linux, we're going to use this little program a couple people have built called JTK Pod. And what this does is basically it can make usage of iPod syncing capabilities, and it can just, you know, help us put stuff in there. So once again, iPod cable. I'm going to connect my iPod to my computer. You can see it's connected. It's gonna tell me, oh, we gotta make some checks on your iPod. It's gonna connect and it's gonna start checking, right? And once it finishes checking, it's gonna tell me, oh, you can't import photos, whatever. And it shows me all the songs that are on this thing. Now, let's, for example, put the entire Doom soundtrack in here. So I'm gonna go here to Zotify, and I'm going to specify that the download format is MP3. And Zotify has another cool function, which is, right now I don't really want to open Spotify to get the link for the album, so I'm just going to go to Zotify, download format as MP3, and I'm going to go Doom soundtrack. And I'm going to search for that, and there it is. The Doom original game soundtrack by Mick Gordon. That's the one. That's ID 12. So I'll say that I want ID 12. And it starts preparing to download. Now this is quite a long album, so it's gonna take a little while to download everything. So I'll be right back, guys. So the album is finished downloading. You can see the iPod right here. So what I'm gonna do is go over here to my File Explorer. I'm gonna go over to my music, Spotify music. See here, Mick Gordon, Doom original game soundtrack, and here it is, every single one of those songs. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy every single one of these songs, and I'm gonna drag them over here, and it'll save all my songs into my iPod. As you can see here, Mick Gordon, all the entire soundtrack. I'm gonna save all my changes, and so I've got the entire album here. As you can see, the entire Doom soundtrack. After that, you can just click here, eject iPod. The iPod will be ejected because it's already fully synchronized. Close JTK Pod and eject my iPod. As you can see, it now says ejecting. And now I'm going to disconnect the cable. Gonna wait for it to be fully okay to disconnect. It's now a bunch of stuff. Okay, and now. And oh, well, there it is. The entire Doom original soundtrack. And there it is. Every single one of those songs that we just downloaded. And you know, that's it. Bye-bye.